Jason in Arlington, Virginia. Hey, Jason, thanks for calling into the program. What's on your mind today?
Hey, Tom. Hey, I just wanted to comment that until we get the integrity of the voting system down, it doesn't matter who wins the election. There's always going to be a percentage that, unfortunately, is going to doubt the process itself and the integrity.
Right.
So there has to be some sort of concerted effort on both sides to fix this in some way, shape, or form, because
it's deprivatizing.
It doesn't matter what happens.
Take it out of private hands, put it in public hands, make the software open source, let everybody see what's going on, make the entire process completely transparent. This is literally to quote Bev Harris, black box voting. It's like, somebody touches the screen and then the machine goes and then it spits out the results, and we're supposed to trust that. And
right,
frankly, I don't.
No, I'm in agreement with you, and it's funny. You would think that after the Bush-Gore, there would be every effort, from both sides to, improve the integrity, and that's the big thing about it. Unless people have faith in the system itself, then the legitimacy of who's in power will always be in question, which undermines the system.
Sure. Well, this was the scam that happened. Was during Bush-Gore, there were those butterfly ballots down in Florida, and that was a punch card system. That were ultimately tabulated by machines, by the way, but nonetheless, there was a punch card system. And the way it was put together in some counties, there were all these people who were voting, thinking they were voting for Al Gore, and in fact, they were voting for Pat Buchanan. And so, the solution in the minds of the Republicans was the Help America Vote Act, passed in 2002, which transferred over $5 billion to the states to buy electronic voting machines so there'd never again be a problem. Other than... you push the Gore button and up comes Bush's name, really.
Yeah, I'm just so surprised. Just today, Jim Moran in the congressional district in Arlington, Virginia, his son had to resign because the Democrat's son was caught on tape talking about how to do voter fraud.
Yeah.
And then there was Wendy Rosen over in Maryland who was caught, she's running for Congress, voting for both the state of Maryland and the state of Florida. So when I sit there, it's both sides are involved in this.
Not true.
I realize that
Jason, not true.
So
it's really simple, Jason. You got to wonder how much these guys get paid to try and get on a talk show and talk about this stuff. There are a couple. There will be voter fraud. We had 20 prosecutions of it? No, 13 prosecutions of it last year. I'm not concerned, frankly, about voter fraud. It is so rare. George Bush spent $70 million looking for voter fraud. He had federal prosecutors who resigned because he was demanding that they find people who were voting fraudulently, and they couldn't find them. And they were like, there's real crimes out here. He's like, well, you want to do political prosecutions? Out. So, yeah, you can give me a couple of anecdotes. And what I'll give you is Katherine Harris knocking 60 to 80,000 African Americans off the voting rolls in Florida before the 2000 election. Voter fraud. Paul Weyrich was totally upfront about this. The guy who founded the American Legislative Council, co-founded the Heritage Foundation, the grand old man of the modern Republican Party who ran the direct mail operation for Ronald Reagan during his campaign in 1980, Paul Weyrich was actually upfront about it. Now, I don't think he realized he was being videotaped, but it's there for you to see. Go to YouTube. You can watch it yourself in the quiet of your own home, or you can watch it or listen to it here. Paul Weyrich said to a group of Republican activists who were meeting in a church in Dallas, Texas in 1980, the following.
Now, many of our Christians have what I call the goo-goo syndrome. Good government. They want everybody to vote. I don't want everybody to vote. Elections are not won by a majority of people. They never have been from the beginning of our country, and they are not now. As a matter of fact, our leverage in the elections, quite candidly, goes up as the voting populace goes down.
I absolutely love it. I actually, a right-wing guest, a guest who's been on our program a couple of times, a conservative that I was debating, actually mentioned the other day to I believe it was to Sean, our booker, our executive director, that every time he came on, he got paid. I'm like, really? I know of no analog to that in the left-wing world. I go on Fox News. Nobody pays me. But apparently in the right-wing world, it's like you can make money calling into talk shows. You can make money. So, I love it when these guys, these shills, call into the program. And, let me tell you about this guy who's a Democrat who got caught instructing people in how to do election fraud. And you're not going to look at 60 to 80,000 African Americans knocked off the voting rolls in Florida by Catherine Harris. That's just gone down the memory hole. The way that Jeb Bush stole an election, a national election, gave it to his brother. At least got it close enough that the Supreme Court could steal it. Are you seriously going to tell me that? You're all hysterical about this. You want to put up big signs in African American communities saying, if you don't vote right, if you make a mistake, you might go to prison. I think this is one of the biggest tragedies, frankly, in America today. That you've got billionaires, I'm serious, billionaires, who get it that the party that they own, the Republican Party, can only win elections if they can prevent the majority of the people from voting, or if they can prevent a significant slice, a significant minority of the people from voting. That there's no way that if they were telling the truth about their agenda, that their agenda is all about making more money for billionaires, keeping the tax loopholes in place for people like Mitt Romney so he can use the capital gains deduction loophole and only pay a maximum 15% income tax. And he defended it on 60 Minutes. If they were to just come right out and say, okay, here's our agenda. The agenda of the Republican Party is to screw the working person and to make the rich people richer. And if you don't believe that that's our agenda, look at the last 30 years of Reaganomics. The wealth at the top 1% has gone up 275%, and the wealth of average Americans has dropped. Now, Romney will point that out to you. He'll blame it on Obama. But it's a 30-year trend. It started with Ronald Reagan. If they actually came out and said the truth about their agenda, which is not hard to find. I mean, just look at Paul Ryan's budget. Cut taxes on millionaires and billionaires, cut services, cut the bootstraps out from the rest of us who might want to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. If they were to actually say that, they'd never win an election. And enough people have figured that out, and they know that enough people have figured it out, that they're having to run around with their hair on fire and actually, pay people to call into radio shows and say, oh, there's this guy I read about on this right-wing website who is encouraging somebody to fill out a voter registration form fraudulently or what. Frankly, I don't know the details. I have not seen the story. I seriously have not seen the story. I don't live in the right-wing websites. But, it wouldn't surprise me if there are a few people out there who commit crimes. I want them busted and prosecuted. If they're scamming our electoral system, of course. But I'd like them to share a jail cell with Catherine Harris and Jeb Bush. Because, one person saying, oh, yeah, here's how you vote. Here's how you fill it out. Here's how you phony up a electric bill or something so that you can vote because you don't have enough money to buy electricity. I don't know the details of this. I've heard this is twice now. I heard it last night on the TV show. Some right-wing guest was going off on it, and then this guy calls in. But it's like, so what? Throw them in jail, right? We actually prosecute people for this. 8, 10, 12, 14 times a year nationwide. But you're going to say that the trade-off for this, that the few people who are voting when they shouldn't be, is to knock 5 million people off the voting rolls, which is what was which is what the Republican Party tried very, very hard to do this year. And they probably will have succeeded in knocking at least 3 million people off the voting rolls. Legitimate voters. And then you want to intimidate millions more? Threaten them, scare them, confuse them? Oh, the election date, on this one website in Spanish was November 8th. In English, it was November 6th. Right. Hispanics vote for who? This is un-American. I'd say to the caller who called in earlier, if you're a true believer and you really believe this stuff, you're a sucker. And that's just a sad, tragic, pathetic thing. I mean, if you really believe that the billionaires who are hustling this stuff, the people, Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes, the guys who are shoveling this stuff to you in Fox News, if you really believe this stuff, that's so sad. And on the other hand, if you are just a paid shill, well, I get it. Sometimes we got to do distasteful things to make a living. It's a tough economy. 30 years of Reaganomics has ripped this country apart. So, I guess I forgive you. 45 minutes past the hour.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit thomhartmann.com for audio and video archives.
If you stick with the Republican Party long enough and it gets infiltrated by the libertarians enough, gee, you could make a living as a hooker.